This is a bracket shelf. It's a super simple project I put together using scrap lumber to give it that rustic look. And today, I'm going to show you how I built it. One mistake at a time. Probably one of the quickest, easiest, most economical, and most useful projects you will ever build is the bracket shelf. These sturdy shelves can be adapted to fit any wasted wall space. Put them above a piece of furniture, base cabinet, or a doorway. So this seems like a pretty simple build. But that's not why I want to build it. I bought this book at a thrift store, and when I opened it up, it had some templates in it, and this one fell out. This is a template for this shelf, a smaller version of this shelf. And I like to think that this book was owned by maybe an old man who, in his retirement age, decided he wanted to make some things and get to a hobby. Maybe make some shelves for his grandkids, his granddaughter, his grandson. And he used this template. So that's why I want to make this project, because I want to use this template. I want to use the old man's template. So, step one, select the stock. So the book says that this bracket should be 8 inches by 8 inches, but this one is actually 5 inches by 5 inches. So I think that the shelf we're going to build is going to have to be scaled down, which is good because this project calls for a 1 by 10. I don't have any 1 by 10, but I do have some old floorboards that look like they've been buried for a few years, which is good because now I can make it rustic, and that way it doesn't have to be perfect. Step 2, notch the brackets. Cut a notch for the cleat in the corner of each bracket as shown in the side view with a back saw or dovetail saw. Well, I already know what you're thinking. But I don't want you to worry, okay? If I lose a finger or an eye, I'm not going to edit that out. I've never used a flush trim bit before. I think the problem that I encountered wasn't necessarily the direction, because I was going in the right direction. I'm aware of the direction, but the grain direction was the problem. I was trying to go against the grain, trying to go with the grain. Now I can't get far. In the direction that was not best suited for safety. So I've got my two brackets that match the template that came with the book from the old man that I made up in my head. So, step 3. Step 3, cut the shape in the cleat ends and brackets. Draw a 1/2-inch grid on a piece of paper and draw the cleat end and bracket patterns on it. Transfer the patterns to the stock and cut the parts to shape. Okay, this is the cleat piece, and we have to put a detail on the end of it. It doesn't do a very good job of giving me a reference for the detail. Yeah. Come around like this. Do a little half circle and then maybe a squiggly line. How do I know if it's even? I mean, I can look at it and say, oh, it looks pretty close. But how do I know? I found this piece of graph paper in the back of the book. It's also got some interesting drawings and stuff on it. But I took one end of my cut and I traced it. And then I took the other end and put it on there. And it's pretty close. Step 4, glue the cleat to the bottom of the shelf. Glue the top edge of the cleat to the bottom of the shelf. Secure with clamps and allow glue to dry. Oh, that got tied. So, this is not the board I picked to be the shelf. This was the board I picked to be the shelf. So now this is the board I've picked to be the shelf. And I have to glue the cleat to this. Now it doesn't say in the book to find the center of the shelf and align it with the center of the cleat, but I mean, I just think it would look better if we did. What's the next step? Attach the brackets to the cleats and shelf. Glue and screw the brackets to the cleat. Screw, but do not glue the brackets to the shelf. The problem I'm having with the brackets is they're not square, which is to be expected. I cut them on a 25-year-old bandsaw freehand. Should probably know better. And I don't have a good square reference to go off, so I don't know if it's this angle, this side that's not square, or this side's not square. All I know is that when I put it up here, I have a gap. It overhangs. So I'm gonna do some fine tuning. Probably should have put some thought into this before I blindly followed some old man's template. Well, it's the next day. This has had time to dry. And I guess we gotta look at the book. Let's look at the book. Let's look at the book. Step 5, attach the brackets to the cleats and shelf. Glue and screw the brackets to the cleat. Screw, but do not glue the brackets to the shelf. The book is not clear about where to drill. It just says to drill for the brackets. So I've measured over where the brackets are supposed to go, and I found center, and I picked a spot. I don't know. They don't look right. Now they look the same. I fixed it. How do you hold? So I got to pre-drill through the bracket too, right? I don't want to split the bracket. How do you hold the bracket in place while you... I can't put a clamp on that, can I? Okay, glue to the cleat, not to the shelf, or is it glue to the shelf? Glue and screw the brackets to the cleat. Screw but do not glue the brackets to the shelf. Got it. So, next step. Sand and finish the bracket shelf. Plug the screw holes. So the book says I should drill out these screw holes to receive a plug, but I don't want to stick like a nice fresh piece of pine dowel in there. I'd rather use the rustic wood, but I don't have a plug cutter, so I guess we're gonna skip that step and just have ugly screws. That's rustic. As far as cut and assembly, that's done. I can put a nice routed edge on there, and I think I might. Maybe. Oh, what do you think? It's pretty lame. It's very nothing. Some people might like it. I don't. Let's see if we can embellish it a little bit. Embellish. Make something more attractive by the addition of decorative detail. Yeah. You know, I kind of like it just the way it is. All right. It's been a few days. I've put a few coats of poly on this thing. I've been sanding it down between each coat. I haven't done any actual stain, you know, it's just a clear coat. And, you know, it is boring. It is basic. There's not much fancy about it. But honestly, once I put that clear coat on there, and it kind of gives it that almost like an antique look, you know, the rustic look that we were going for, it really has kind of grown on me. So, if you thought this video was helpful, no, not helpful. So if you liked this video, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing, and we'll catch you next time.